Special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and celebrity interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna. Greg, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Neil. Having an awesome day. Can't wait to talk to our next guest.
All right, so our guest today is Seth Gilliam. He's going to talk about Lady of the Lake and much, much more. Seth, thanks for stopping by, and how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're going
That's
to just
fantastic. I'm so glad to see you, Seth. Sort of in person, sort of live, right? But tell me, Seth, tell us about Lady of the Lake.
Lady of the Lake is a film by Maria Kapp. That's a coming of age story for a teenage girl the summer before she goes away to college.
absolutely, and it's interesting who a little bit looking at that background of what we're going to find out without giving anything away, Seth. That's the big thing. Even with the trailer, I don't want to give that away because it's just really an interesting story, a great storyline. How did you get hooked up with this film?
I got a call from my manager at the time, Bob McGowan, um, that Maria had been trying to contact me and had a script that she had written with me in mind for playing the role of Adam, the teenage girl's father. And so I read it, and it seemed like a very interesting piece. And I was incredibly flattered that somebody would write something with me in mind. So I figured that the least I could do was give it my full attention.
Without giving anything away or too much away, can you tell us about your character and your role?
Um, yeah, I play a father of teenagers, and there's an inciting incident that happens before the movie begins, before the story is picked up. That sets this family up on a journey of um, I guess the rebirth,
Rebirth, yeah.
without saying too much.
And playing a father, how do you prepare for those roles? I'm sure because you've played so many roles in your career. How
Yeah.
like playing this type of a role compared to other roles you've played in your career?
Well, thankfully, for this one, I have a teenage son as well. So it was really just kind of drawing on my own experiences as a parent of, and particularly a parent of a teenager who's on the cusp of leaving home.
Right.
Gotcha. And would you say it's a film more towards the children, the parents, both? What are you hoping people get out of this film that you created?
I think it's film for parents and their kids. I think it might particularly resonate with younger adults, um, and for that matter, also older adults who are experiencing or a loss of some kind.
All right. Well, fantastic. And I think that when looking at the trailer and kind of, previewing the film, what I see that's the big component is that the storyline, really looking at human nature, what's happening, and how family gets along and making decisions either for family or friends. When we were teenagers, Seth, we didn't make the best decisions, I'm sure. I sure as heck didn't. And I don't
No,
know
I
about
didn't
Greg,
either.
where hey, we're free, let's go do what we need to do. And I think that a lot of times we're not showing that human element enough in movies to really connect kids watching the film and parents. Wouldn't you agree, Seth?
I would agree. I would agree. I would agree very much so. Yes.
Now, can
Because
you compare and contrast or draw any similarity between Lady of the Lake and Walking Dead? Is that possible?
Um, Only that the specter of dead people is all around us, I guess.
Okay.
yeah, that's the one thing for sure and to do. Okay. All right. So Greg, you're in a different spotlight, just letting you know on FYI if you're looking at your camera, but that's okay. We're going to continue with the conversation. Now let's talk about what do you think your favorite role ever is, Seth, in your career?
Hmm, my favorite role, I guess. I think Sergeant Carver of The Wire is one of my favorite roles. Father Gabriel was also one of my favorite roles. These were roles that had, I think, very strong character arcs from the beginning of the shows when you were introduced to the character to where you left them at the end of the shows.
Now,
That's
Greg,
great.
I have not watched The Wire. Have you watched The Wire, Greg?
So, no,
Which you're more Walking
Seen,
Dead fan then?
yeah, you guys have not seen one of the best shows in the history of American television.
I'm going to go do that. See, I have a next on my binge list because
Okay,
there's not a lot of content, right? So you got to be able to
yeah,
go, and so you got to pick your next show. Like I watched Umbrella Academy, now I'm going to Evil, and then I'm going to say, okay, where can I go find all the seasons of The Wire? And so for I guess for Greg to kind of educate Greg about The Wire, what was your role in The Wire in the show? So that for because there's so many fans of The Wire, as you said, one of the best shows.
yeah.
Mhm.
The Wire was a show that I guess it masquerades as a cop show, but it's really a show about the great experiment that American cities are. Um, and each season takes place in Baltimore. Each season deals with a different aspect of living in a city. One deals with the cops and drug dealers. One deals with the stevedores and uh, people who work down at the docks, at the entry ports of cities. Another deals with the school systems in cities. Another season deals with the political structure and people running for office in cities. And it's a kind of a Charles Dickensian show where there are many different characters and they all are intertwined. And somebody has two lines in the second episode of the first season, and they come back in the fourth episode of the fifth season and pick up where those two lines left off 3 or 4 seasons before, and it all ties together. It's like a giant chess piece.
sounds awesome.
So that's
What's it streaming on? The Wire.
Well, it was on HBO, so I'm not sure if which platform. It might be on Max now or something. I'm not sure.
I'm
it's one
definitely
of
gonna
those
check
different
that out.
places. They just change it in different areas. Let's go really quickly. So, The Walking Dead, the experience with that. Tell us a little bit about that.
That was a fantastic experience. I had not read the graphic novels, the comics that it was based on. So I went in kind of blind when I was hired for the show, not knowing whether the character was going to live or die, and how that would might come about. So I was under the impression, because he was such a weak character in the beginning, that he was going to be a plot device to get a more popular character killed, coming to his rescue, and then he would eventually get his throat ripped out in the next episode. And that that turned out not to be the case. It wound up being 7.5 fantastic seasons for me on the show.
That
Or are
was a
you a
good
Walking
run.
Dead fan, Greg?
Oh yeah, that was a good run. I enjoyed that.
So you watched all The Walking Dead almost.
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. So you zombie guy.
Uh, I like that show. My wife and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So then that's it. So that you want to ask any Walking Dead questions for the Walking Dead fans? Go ahead, Greg. This is the point before your last question.
All right. Well, did you like the way it ended? Were you happy with that?
I was happy with the way it ended, particularly for Father Gabriel. I thought he kind of had come full circle, and letting the people of the Commonwealth inside the gates that they were locked outside of, was a full circle moment, kind of shadowing um, the beginning of Father Gabriel's journey on the show, when he locked everyone out and locked his congregation out of his church.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was very satisfying that that's where the writers decided to go with the character.
Was it fun working with Rick and Michonne and Daryl and those guys? Did you guys goof around on the set? It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't do a lot of goofing around because I came onto the show a few years after they had started it. And so out of respect for them, I didn't really want to waste anyone's time with my shenanigans. But Norman and Andrew had a steady running prank war that I think Norman got the trophy for at the end after all was said and done. But I think he loaded up Andrew Lincoln's air conditioner in his car with glitter on one particularly 120 something degree Georgia day after they worked for 16 hours in the sun. And Andrew sits in his car and turns on the AC and gets blasted with glitter. And I think that pretty much did it.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, I look at your Wikipedia, you are a working actor, Seth. What tip would you give, especially in this day and age, to be working as much as you work?
Well, a lot of it is timing and being in the right place at the right time, a good deal of good fortune, and a sense of I try to always keep a sense of play that this is supposed to be fun, that people are going to the theater or turning on their television sets because they want to believe. They want to believe whatever story it is you're telling. So I try to keep it as much fun for me as possible because I figure if I'm having fun and I'm true to the character, then the people watching will also enjoy it and they'll get something out of it. And I think that kind of resonates and may be one of the reasons why people hire me.
Well, and you got to get along. If you go in and become like, I got to have my special, just everything, they're gonna be like, oh, no, thank you. But if you're easy to work with, lots of directors are like, okay, we got to get him in, and that's it. And
I mean, if you're, it's not just the amount of money that goes into these productions that people really don't have the time to waste. It's also that you're working 10, 12, 14, sometimes 16 hours a day with people, and you don't want to be in a miserable work environment. You want to enjoy the people that you're spending that much time with, creating something with.
Right. So Greg has this final question, but one more thing I have to say, are you any other projects going on? And we're going to mention again, your latest project, but anything else coming up for you, Seth, for your fans?
No, not at the moment. We're working on that.
It's all happening, right? It's because of those strikes, it slowed things down, and then it's all going to pick up. That's your hope, right? That last strike, the last strike was the worst, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And so I want content. So I got to watch The Wire. And guess what? I only watched one episode of The Walking Dead. So I'm one of these weird characters. And I'm going to have to ask my girlfriend and say, hey, Vanessa, have you ever watched The Walking Dead? If not, I guess we add that to our list as well. Wait, but see, the thing is,
watching is the future.
The future. Binge watching is definitely the future. All right, Greg, with your final question, go ahead with that question.
Oh, that's great. Seth, this has been awesome. Thanks. And not including loading up air conditioners in the cars with glitter, because you can't use that. But tell me, Seth, what do you feel is the most important thing in life you've ever learned?
The most important thing in life that I've ever learned is that everybody is going through something. So try to be kind always.
I love that. That's great.
We really appreciate you coming on, Seth. Everyone definitely like I said, it's great to see a project that was done, a character was done for you. You got to feel great about that. But everyone can check out Lady of the Lake. It's available on VOD now, right? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And check it out. And we really appreciate it. And like I said, I watched a portion of it, and I really think it's a really nice film, and it's fantastic to know. And I guess it's the humbling experience whenever you say, hey, I made a part for you. I don't know how many times you could say that, right? So that's kind of like it becomes part of your own because of that.
And hit the nail on the head.
Because we can do so many different things, but when somebody really compliments us or really, sees our work as something really special and they want to do it for us, and you hear those words, that's much different than doing so many other projects where people just paid us and we walked away. That's defining something for sure.
Yes, we all stand taller when we're standing on someone's belief in us.
100%. We appreciate it, Seth. Thanks again.
Take care, Seth.
All right. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and Celebrity Interviews live from